The publisher sent me a copy of the new book. Here it is. I'm really happy with it. It feels like a full-blown, heavy-weighted kind of object. I can flick to nearly any page, or pretty much every page, and I'm not embarrassed by what's on it. I'll go, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah, I like that one too. I don't mind that. That's pretty good. There's like, in my head, I tried to make them as best good as I could. There's maybe one or two where I've gone, of the 190s, where I've gone, that's okay. It probably didn't deserve to get in there, but it's still okay. But then always someone else will like it more than I do. So that's what I love about books. As long as I can make it 99% as good as I can make it, it doesn't really matter. That's all that matters. Because there were a few that I was so close to saving for another book. I thought, oh, these are too good to put in this one. I could save it for another one. I went, no, I'm putting them all in. I don't care. That was my fear speaking, thinking, oh, I could never think of another idea again. That's all I'm ever going to think of. And of course, that's not how creativity works. It comes from nowhere. Yeah, I forget that it comes from nowhere. And I had to just gamble on just putting every single thing into it. Yes. What's weird about flicking through it are there's some long ones and short ones and long ones and short ones. It is a real mix, and so the short ones, if someone just flicks through it, it's almost like a Trojan horse gateway. It's like, oh yeah, I'll stick around to read the short one. If that's good, maybe I'll read the long one. And there was one long one that I tested that I didn't test. I put it in kind of last minute. That's the longest one. It takes up a whole page right next to one of the shortest ones. And I thought, oh, I'm taking a huge risk putting in a really long one last minute. It hasn't kind of passed the roughly 1 year test of time for me. It was kind of a few ideas in my head all cobbled together to form one long page. And I thought, I'm putting it in, I'm just never going to read it again, so I don't know if it's good or bad. But I posted it on Substack and made it a video on Facebook, and people love it, and so that's amazing. And I know I shouldn't give a shit about external validation, all that sort of stuff, but as I've said before, I'm not really a true poet. I'm a humorist or a comedian testing my stuff out on an audience. There are some poems that are in there that I still go, I have no idea. No one really got it when I initially posted it, and I didn't understand it either, but it just had enough weirdness to go, I'm putting it in there. I don't understand it, but I like it. I don't know why. I love when I don't know why I like something. Some of my favourite things are when I have no idea, but I like it. That's good. So yeah, it's weird seeing the whole book as a bunch of thoughts. It's a little world all put together, and I know how much I struggled for some of those sentences in there. Lots of them, 80% of it, just felt like real workmanship, like grafting them out in the morning with 4 instant coffees and some tobacco spray, and they were. But yet, seeing them in a book, they just feel so frivolous. Like I can just frivolously flick the page like they're made of nothing. But I know how hard I work to make that make such heaviness feel so light. And so it almost feels like a form of cheating when you put all your best ideas into one little book and make it feel like it was just effortless when it was effortful. But sometimes the best stuff is effortless. Like I know that some of the best lines, you go, where the hell did that come from? I have no idea. But yeah, it's weird seeing all the words together in a book that's, I keep flicking it, I can't help it. It feels nice to flick. It's weird seeing it. not weird. I love seeing it all together, squashed onto pages, not in a Word document. I've never held it as the paper in all in one go. It feels it 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 has it brings a completely new vibe to it. Being able to flick around it rather than this Word document that I've been sweating over for a long time, because a lot of them were from self-published books that I'd written, and I'd taken the best works out of them. And sometimes I've completely borrowed spare parts from old ideas that I've had and just remade them, reinvented them. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to sharing it as an object, as a thing. Its own little beautiful world that sort of travels many seasons of the heart over many years. I think a couple of the oldest ideas in it are probably from 2008, 2009. There's one or two ideas in it that I know I came up with then. And it's weird because back then I was going, I love these little ideas. No one gives a shit about them, but I'm turning up to a stupid job, just struggling to get a job to pay the rent and stuff. But those ideas smuggled themselves through 20 years and then eventually made it into that little book. Yeah, I love the idea that those ideas that I had years and years ago still made it. They made it in. So I've got it, even though they're not my absolute favourite ideas in the book, see if I can find it. Let me find it. Probably the oldest idea in this book. Here it is. The oldest idea from a book. You're going to be okay because you fuck no matter what. Today I locked myself out of my place, so I broke in through the back window, ransacked the joint, found my hidden cash and quickly made a getaway through the front door, locking myself out again. I wrote that when I was 28 or something, 29, because that's what actually happened. I locked myself out from a share house. No one was there. And I thought, I've got to get back in. So I climbed the back fence. All of a sudden, I felt guilty. Felt like I was I was doing a break and enter. And all of a sudden I was in the mindset that I was trespassing my own life, and it felt ridiculous. And then I just wrote that, and that survived. I think I initially published that in a photocopied and stapled little zine I made. That was back in 1999. Wow, it's 25 years old. Is the oldest thing I've got in there. But yeah, most of the stuff has been written in the last 5 years. That's what I love about getting old. No, I don't love about getting older, but you survive yourself long enough and the words write themselves. Ideas compound as you get older. I've collected so many of that compost of ideas that they all start to kind of integrate. What do you call it? They sort of all bounce off each other and weave into each other in different ways, and you experience more life, and it almost gets not easier. It gets harder and easier at the same time. Just everything's a stupid contradiction like that. But yeah, ideas compound, and as you get older, and it does feel easier. It feels easier for me to know if something's good or shit, and I can quickly dismiss stuff and go, no, that's crap. That's good. Sometimes I love that feeling of when I know that that's good. It's not working at all, and no one would understand it, but there's something there, and I need to bloodhound it down. I need to sniff it out. Often in the car, I'll have a thought, and I'll think, that's a good idea, but it doesn't make sense. But there's a good idea in that. I've got to dig into that. I've got to write it out, and I love it. That's what I love about writing is you got this weird thought. You start writing it and just see where it leads. Sometimes it doesn't work, but sometimes it does. And that's the beauty of it. I love that weird process of writing. But anyway, I recorded an audio book for this book the day before the publisher sent it, and so I was in that was my last episode, and it's now available on Spotify to pre-save if you're keen. You can just pre-save it, and it'll just remind you when it's out for March the 3rd. That's in like 5 weeks or some crap. It's also on audiobooks as well as a pre-purchase thing, but a pre-save on Spotify, it's like over an hour long. It's about an hour, 10 minutes where I read the whole book. I tried not to perform it. Like sometimes I was going into slight performy mode where how I've delivered it on some of those poems on Instagram and TikTok and stuff, but it's mostly just, I didn't read it deadpan either, but yeah, I'm not an actor. I just tried to read it as good as I could. But anyway, if you're keen, yeah, it's an audio book. I'll put it in the link below to the Spotify. Cheers.